Christians, Muslims, etc. A lot of people have experiences that they would consider to be spiritual in nature. And if you hold a belief about religion and you have a spiritual experience, that experience tends to just strengthen what your belief was beforehand. But I don't think that.
So, is there a belief that you have that you would like to talk about today?
So I feel like I'm a little weird when it comes to my belief, I guess. I consider myself agnostic.
Okay.
So I don't feel like I really fall into, I always feel kind of on the outside when it comes to both sides of the discussion. I see a lot of the times when people are debating or they make a point, a lot of the times I can see where the other party is coming from. I see both sides kind of.
Okay. So, is there, since you're agnostic, and it seems like you can see both sides of that type of a debate, and I assume you're talking about a religious type, is there a claim that you do hold, that you do believe?
I guess so. That's where things get a little complicated for me. Like I guess I would consider myself, if I had to choose, like to be more of an agnostic theist. And I don't feel like that's super common. I do feel like there could be something, but I don't believe that anybody does or even at this point can claim knowledge about it. Like you know what I mean? Like I don't think that anybody can say for sure that they know what it is, but I do think that there is something.
All right. So it
That
seems
makes
like,
things so hard.
yeah, no, that makes sense. So it seems like you're saying that you don't, um, that no one can really know. It's kind of an unknowable thing. But
Yeah.
if you had to pick, you acknowledge that the knowledge part of it isn't really examinable, but that you do believe that there's something.
Yeah.
Um, let's see, how could we define that? Would you like what
So
would
I,
you
I
say of something?
so so that's so hard for me to define because like I guess either something that exists outside of nature or something that we don't have the technology to understand at this point.
Okay, so if we don't have the technology at this point to be able to test it, do you anticipate in the future that it will be able to be tested?
That would be cool, but I don't think that, I mean, because it would have to be like, it would have to be like something that could be demonstrated repeatedly. And a lot of the times when people make claims, a lot of the times I feel like those things don't occur in the same way every time. So there's no real way to like measure it and get like a valid answer. Because so from my experience or my point of view, um I feel like a lot of so I think it's so hard to explain. I feel like there's something because of personal experiences that I have had, but my personal experiences don't are like not valid to other people, of course. So it's not something that I generally bring up. And lots of other people, I feel like Christians, Muslims, etc. A lot of people have experiences that they would consider to be spiritual in nature. And if you hold a belief about religion and you have a spiritual experience, that experience tends to just strengthen what your belief was beforehand. But I don't think that everyone can be right. Like, I'm not negating the fact that people have experiences, but I do think that you can't say, like, I had this experience and be a Muslim, and then a Christian say, I had this experience, and it, like, for me, solidifies that belief. I don't think that that necessarily, like, unless you can somehow connect it and demonstrate it repeatedly, can really back up their belief. I think it's a lot of like bias.
Right. Okay. So it seems like you don't accept or find, you're not compelled by the arguments that you do hear.
Right.
And it seems like you don't have a way of testing. Um, hmm.
So I'm not
What?
fun to interview.
Well, I'm just thinking. So if there's no way to know it, and you are relying on your personal experience, which you know is, you say is subjective to you, so it wouldn't be, compelling to other people. Um, but but it is to you. Is there anything that you can that you could think of that would make your that would make it more?
Lean towards one way or another.
Yeah. Yes, Matt.
I guess. I mean, yeah, I guess it depends on like if I had any more experiences and what they were, or if sometimes it's hard to take stock in other people's experience because that puts a lot of trust on that person and their state of mind and their mentality and their bias. And so I feel like I'll listen to it, but it doesn't do much to sway me usually. Um, it would be hard. I don't think that's the thing. I don't think that anyone can at this point know or say that they have knowledge on it, like because it can't be demonstrated or tested, and you can only really go off of like people's opinions and their bias and their experiences, and each experience that someone has is subjective to themselves. So unless that changed and it was something that could be like more reliable, I don't think that it would be easy to like sway me one way or another.
Um, would there are there personal experiences that you feel attribute to there being something that could be like attributed to something else? I mean, is it possible
Yeah,
that
like
there
oh
may
yeah.
be?
Yeah, I had considered that. Some of the experiences I had, like maybe I wasn't doing well mentally, or I was stressed, or I was this, or I was that. I will say, because I'd rather not go into the experiences themselves, but I will say that I did question it a lot. Uh, but I had someone experience it with me, and we didn't speak about it until the next day. And they experienced the same thing that I had, and they spoke about it before I had. So it was strange that they had the same experience as I did. Um, and that it made me feel like I wasn't just seeing or hearing something because someone else heard it and saw it too. So that kind of freaked me out. And there was no real definite explanation for it, like for it to be something other than what it was.
Hmm. So if there was no other explanation that you could think of, then it was the most fitting. It made the most sense to
It just
you.
made the most sense, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's something that I don't know and don't have the tools to know or understand, but
Mm-hmm.
it's something outside of being tested or repeated, I guess. Not that I hadn't had like multiple like incidences, but I try really hard. I was raised very religious, and so that I think colored my opinion for a long time on what the experiences were like. But even after I left that a long time ago, I feel like I try really hard not to and I'm sure I'm not perfect. So I'm sure that there are instances in which like that does color my opinion, but I try really hard not to be biased and let that, because like I said, if you're raised Muslim and you have what you consider to be a spiritual experience, that only I feel like solidifies your indoctrination
Mm-hmm.
kind of example. Um, so I think it's strange that different religions all over the world all claim to have spiritual, personal, meaningful experiences, but to them it just solidifies whatever belief that they were already looking at or whatever they think fits best. But I don't think that it makes sense that all these different religions would have these experiences and only one of them be correct.
All right.
Or I mean, and then all of them be correct. You know what I mean? Like it just wouldn't make sense that, okay, I had this experience, so that solidifies that I'm a Muslim, or I had this experience and this solidifies that this is my belief system, so on and so forth.
So you're saying that the experience doesn't necessarily prove the package that they're putting it into. It just
Right,
proves
right.
that there
It just,
was an experience and
for
that
them,
something.
yeah, that's all it proves. It just proves that to them, because that's it's if in, unless you can do it, or it can happen all the time, or it can be like measured or demonstrated, then it's subjective and therefore only really meaningful to that one person.
Mm-hmm. Um, let's see. If you had like say the experiences that you did have, if you had more of those experiences, would that move you more towards believing that something does exist? Would that,
Yeah,
it wouldn't
it
define it for you, but it would make
yeah,
it, would
unless it
increase
could
your
be
confidence?
yeah, I think there's something that obviously I don't think that a lot of people can know or have the tools to know. I guess more experiences would only just, it wouldn't help me to define it unless it was very clear, and it was, I don't know, but then at that point I would worry about like what I was seeing and if other people could see it too, and so
Mm-hmm.
I try not to be like too pulled towards one way or another, but yeah, I think that if it happened more often, it would freak me out, and it would leave me with more questions than answers.
Hmm. Interesting. I'm curious if you had no more ever experiences, would that make you lean towards perhaps it was just something else? And I mean, would that lower your confidence if you never experienced
Anything else?
another? Mhm.
It probably would, honestly, if it hadn't happened to someone I was with, then I would probably still question myself on it. But that fact that someone else saw what I was seeing and heard what I was seeing without me saying any, I had never spoken to anybody about it. Um, and that really, for me, was what I guess made me lean towards my answer. That I guess not an answer, but um, that's really what did it for me, I guess. If I if that hadn't occurred, then I probably would still have a lot more questions than I do now.
Um, let's see. I am not sure. I am not sure
I'm
where to
so
go.
vague, but so
Oh
I
no,
was
you're
raised really
fine.
religious. So I understand a lot of like of a theist's perspective. And when I'm watching people make their arguments, but a lot of the times I feel like it's very it's the same stuff being argued over and over and over, and a lot of the times I don't feel like anybody's mind has ever changed, and I feel like both sides don't necessarily like understand the other, and so
Mhm.
I don't think they go about it in the best way. Not that I would have like a better answer, because it's hard, when you have different viewpoints, to come down and meet on a level in which people are willing, especially when it comes to belief, because
Mhm.
people become so indoctrined, or a lot of the times I feel like growing up religious, you're not allowed to have questions,
All right. Yeah, it's not allowed to question anything. Um,
or it's frowned upon.
mhm.
You're made to
Absolutely.
feel bad if you have too many questions, or if you see things from a different perspective or a different viewpoint. That's
Mhm.
just my personal experience.
If you had, if you say, if you found out from different people who had similar experiences to yours that they attributed to a higher power, and that they somehow found out that no, actually it was this or it was this, and they have explanations that seem logical, would that possibly move you to have any?
If it's something that I could also do, like if it was something like a way that they went about it that I could like a path that I could also go down and like venture into
Mhm.
and see for myself, that would be compelling.
Um, I wonder how would it affect your life? Would it affect your life if you found out definitively, which we've all already determined really isn't possible. But if you were to find out definitively that there was no God and that the uh, experiences that people have are explainable in other ways, would that change your outlook on life or how you viewed relationships or?
Probably not. Honestly, I don't feel like it really affects my life, like my day-to-day life that much. I don't think that if I found out for sure that there wasn't anything, I don't think it would change much for me.
Okay. Let's see. Mm-hmm. I really do not know where to go from here.
I know. I feel like I try really hard not to be biased, and I try really hard to like not let like the way that I was raised, I feel like color my opinion. Um, so I'm not fun to interview.
So you're not fun to interview, is that what you said?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, no, you're fine. You're fine. You
Okay.
are I am very new at this, so I am it's not you, it's me. I am always nervous about doing things anyway, and I just I don't have a lot of experience doing this or knowing what the next question is. So it isn't that
I
your
gotcha.
claim is in any way difficult. It's just that yeah. Um, let's see. Let's see. Here's a suggestion from my teacher. Can Emily give a confidence in the claim God exists in whatever form of God? Yeah. Do you have a confidence level that
Um,
something exists?
so that's so hard because I try really hard not to define my experience because uh, it's so because like I said, it's so subjective. So like for like to be, I feel 100% confident that I had those experiences and that I saw and heard and went through what I did, but I don't have like a definition for it. Like, and over the years, my opinion on this has changed, like, from like when it initially happened to now. Um, so, I mean, all I can say with certainty is that, like, those experiences happened and that they made me lean towards one way over the years. I don't lean, I feel like, as strongly as I did in the past. Um, but that's the only thing I think I have confidence in is that, yes, I had those experiences and I wasn't alone in them, and that other people, whether I don't think I believe everybody's experience, but it's common enough that other people have some kind of experience. What the details of those are, like, aren't as important, I feel like, to me. Um, just that other people experience things and they come to different conclusions. I try really hard not to come to a conclusion on it because it's like I don't feel like I have enough information.
Um, you said that your confidence is lower than it used to be. What was it reading or hearing other people give their cases? What was it that lowered your confidence? Why do you not
Um,
believe it as much
so
as you used to?
uh so for me it's like I have mentioned, I was raised in an extremely religious family, and like as I got older, I just felt like it didn't make sense, and so I left as soon as I turned 18, and I did kind of a lot of really like reading on my own, and I just felt like things didn't add up in that aspect. Although when I was younger, I believed that, but I don't know if I believed that because I chose to or because that's just the way things were growing up. So I left that and I moved on to something different, and I found that that is all like was lacking also. And so I looked into like other perspectives when it comes to religion, and I feel like they're all there's no definite like answer or information. They can all be argued, you know, that they don't necessarily like I haven't seen anything that really adds up to me. So like over the years, I don't necessarily like I'm not religious. I kind of stepped away from all of that. But I do enjoy I found that I enjoy like hearing other people's perspectives, like the doctrine that they teach and their perspectives, because you can have like you can talk to two different theists from the same religion and get two different answers for a question, two different perspectives, two different examples from their religion that like they feel supports that. And so there's just I feel like they're all too subjective and they're all very there's a lot of indoctrination and there's not a lot of answers. So I just as I've gotten older, I felt like that wasn't really it.
So you did some thinking, some critical thinking, and hey, say this doesn't really make sense. When you were younger, you kind of let some of those things go, and then so it seems like you just haven't really heard any compelling evidence to move you more towards being confident, and because of that, perhaps the lack of any compelling evidence maybe has just like slowly your confidence has gone down because of not having any
Real answers.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Seeing how there really isn't any real answers that you have found so far. Um, hmm. Let's see. So is it a trying to formulate into words the question I'm trying to think of. What type of what type of evidence would sway you? What type of things would be answers? You know, you haven't got answers yet. What would be something that would be acceptable to you?
That's really hard to say. Um, I don't know. I guess I don't know. I do feel like I have these experiences every once in a while, and I haven't been alone in all of them. And so maybe if, depending on how they went, and it's very hard to say like what could sway me. I think it would just be more of a like if it's something I can delve into and see for myself and research, and I feel like that would help lean me more one way than another. But like right now, I think that I had these experiences and there's not really any clear answers. And I think that when people do have answers, I don't take a lot of stock into it. I feel like it's a lot of indoctrination and a lot of they're filling in the gaps themselves.
Yeah, it seems like you're trying not to write anything into your experiences other than that it seems like it's the logical explanation that a God type of being is the cause of, you know, like it fits. Shoot, I forgot what I was going to say. Is there any explanation that you can think of other than, well, seems like this would be the best? I mean, are there anything that you can think of that
that
would
I
be
could come across.
possible?
I guess I just didn't. When it first started happening, I just felt kind of alone and like I was just imagining things or being paranoid. But just the fact that they happened to other people that I knew and trusted, and happened to people that were with me when sometimes like it would occur. Uh, that I don't know. That just that really made me feel like I didn't know anything. And but it made me feel less crazy that other people had these experiences as well, like
Hmm.
with me, and that maybe it wasn't me, because that's really the only other thing that I initially thought of, was that it was me. Um, but I guess so so I feel like I would not have the same opinion if I didn't have that, if I didn't have someone else, like multiple people kind of, I guess, back up what happened as being not me, not just like I'm crazy, like, so that's what makes, I think, it hard, like my viewpoint so hard, because it would be easier to write it off as nothing if it was just me.
Hmm. Right, but because it happened to other people, and hmm, in the fact that they said it before you said it, and
So that's where I think things get like strange, because maybe if I had talked about it and then they had said it, I would still question myself. But
mhm,
because they brought it up when I hadn't brought it up to people, um, that that was weird and crazy and surreal.
hmm. So that was probably the most compelling
Yeah,
part
for
of it
me.
for
But
you.
that's the thing. That's only compelling for me. It's not something
Mhm,
I can use, or that even they can use because they said it first, or that anybody else can use. That's just compelling for me.
mhm. And there's no other explanation. I mean, there's no
I
way that
mean,
it could have been a coincidence. I mean, there's no.
I guess I guess there's a few instances where I could say like maybe it wasn't what I thought it was, but a lot of them I feel like, just because for me, I guess the most compelling thing is that it happened to other people, and that it happened with me present, and that sometimes it happened without me present, and um that was probably the thing that like really solidified that it did happen to me, whether it was, no matter what it really was. But I am open to different ideas, I guess.
Well, have you, the people that experienced this with you, have you talked to them extensively, like through it all? Have you, asked them, well, what do you think this
Oh
was, or
yeah.
how could this
Oh
have
yeah.
happened, or why did you say this, or I mean, did they have any insight? I mean, what
Yeah.
were?
Well, yeah, they do, but I don't really feel like there's a lot of stock in their opinion, because I feel like they're biased, because they do. I feel like um, they're some of the people that maybe let that fill in the gaps. That
Mhm,
they just go to the first explanation that is easiest. I feel like people don't ask questions. And so yeah, like I've asked their opinion on things, and I've known them a long time. And no, I feel like, yeah, they had what they thought it was, but I didn't feel like that was valid, because I don't think it could be like like they're Christian, and so they feel like it just fills in the gap for them, for their own belief. And I didn't feel like that answered that question for me. So,
Okay. Awesome. Well, I really appreciate you talking about this with me. It looks
yeah.
like we are at our planned end time. So, do you have any questions or anything? Not that you would, but um,
No, I think that I hope I did okay. And
you did great.
okay, and you did great.
Oh,
So,
thank you.
yeah,
Okay. Well, it was really, really good to talk to you, and perhaps we can chat again in the future.
sure.
Great. Well, thank you. Thank you for taking the time.
Thanks.
Okay. And